because you've beaten Villa, Stoke now, and a great chance again of reaching the last 16.
Yeah, of course. I think any time you're in the FA Cup is an exciting cup tie. And to be in the fourth round at a club like Stoke City, I think everyone accepts they're a huge club in the Championship with fantastic owners. And a friend of mine is a gaffer up there. So it's going to be a real cup tie. Hopefully a good cup tie. But, we're looking forward to it.
They won't take you lightly. I mean, having beaten Aston Villa, that's the one thing. You're not going to be going under the radar anymore.
Well, Alex Neil his preparation for this game will be meticulous. You know him as well as I know him very well. He will know everything about us, the systems we deploy, about our players. So there'll be no feelings on Alex's part. And they've got top quality players, haven't they? You break down their squad. They've got so much talent. But, we'll have a game plan. We'll go there and we'll try our best to deploy it, be in the cup tie in 70, 75 minutes like we tried at Villa. And we'll see where it takes us.
I know Alex is a friend. I know that you're not going to be disparaging about Stoke. But was there a little bit of a feeling inside of you, having come down off the high of winning at Villa, that you hadn't got another Premier League team?
No, not at all, because we knew before the game at Stoke, of course, we were unusually playing after the cup draw was already made.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I think when we got the cup draw, we said, well, we'd love to be going to Stoke. I'm not so sure some of the Villa boys were thinking that, but we were. And so from our point of view, if it had been in reverse, it would still be as exciting as it is today. And we know what the prize is. A place in the fifth round of the FA Cup for a club in League Two is fantastic. So, but we know we have to go there. Stoke have to have a down day, not be quite at it. And we have to be meticulous in everything we do to stay in the cup.
You're well placed for promotion from League Two, and quite a lot of teams that are going for promotion or trying to stay off relegation don't always take the cup seriously, but you always do. Do you see it as a kind of a springboard, and if you're winning games in any competition, it helps in others?
Yeah, very much so. I think I think when you break down the season, I think how many times do you have for League Two to play against the elite, and the elite is teams like Stoke City and Aston Villa for us. So these opportunities don't come around too often. So we treat it with a real serious approach. And I really have no understanding as to why some managers at the top level would weaken teams and go out and then moan about it afterwards. Don't moan, just play your strongest team and try and get through in a cup tie. It's the most magical cup competition in the world. The top managers in the world of football have said that. So we'll embrace it and we'll try and go there at Stoke, and we'll certainly arrive with pride, and we have to leave with pride, whatever the score.
Last couple, they always say, can a team do it on a cold Tuesday night in Stoke? Your team, can they do it on a cold Sunday afternoon in Stoke?
We can do it because that's the magic of the cup, isn't it? We have to believe. Listen, we understand, looking back in at Villa, we could have been 3-0 down and out of the cup and gone. They didn't take a couple of big chances at come. They left themselves vulnerable to that last 10 minutes, if you like, when we can open up and have a goal, because at 1-0 you're going out the cup, and we got through. So we just got to go there, hope they're not quite at their best, and hope that we are at our best, and that's where the magic and the sprinkling of gold comes out for the FA Cup.
And finally, you do like the limelight. You're a character who loves to be front and centre, and we all love you for that. What about your players? I mean, how much are they enjoying the whole of this season, being recognised, being talked about, being interviewed on TV and radio, and just generally being like you in the spotlight?
Yeah, I think they embrace it. I think we've got a lot of good players. I think we get some good players that can certainly play higher in the football pyramid. They're loving every minute of it, and they're the boys that should love it. We're getting older as coaching staff and managers. I think these young men have their own memories to make that they'll have forever. We've already banked some fantastic memories, and Villa will be added to that bank. So, in their own careers, their own journeys, it's great for them. But they're a great bunch. I've been proud of them since June and July, since we put the group together, and I'm proud of them today. But we've got a big 3.5 months of football, and the only important thing for us is Stoke City, because it's the next game.
I just want to actually go back, before we get on to Stoke, I want to go back and talk about this week, because it was a momentous result on Saturday. How's the mood been in the camp?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I think we've got the chance to come back in. You quickly come back to reality when the pitches are frozen again. So we've not been able to do a lot, but we took the opportunity as well to, like we did pre-Villa, to give the boys a couple of days away from here and away from everyone thinking Stoke City and big cup ties. And we're back in today. So we have a couple of good days training here at the training centre, which is fantastic condition. So we'll train well, hopefully, and we'll travel north tomorrow.
I mean, you're going from one massive game into another massive game, so I guess that momentum's now just, you've got to keep going.
Yeah, I think when you get to this stage, Neil, I think you get to end of January into February. Every game now until the end of the season is massive for us, whether we can take a point or even a win to get 3 points. It's massive. The FA Cup is an absolute bonus for us. It's just a cherry on top of it all. But we understand that, we're in a structure that we have to keep positivity around the place regardless of what happens at Stoke on Sunday. And we're not being defeatist when we say that, because on a good day, can we go through in the cup? Absolutely. But we need everything to go in our favour.
Is it a harder game? I mean, we touched on it there before. Villa aren't going to rest Stoke aren't going to rest 8 players. They're not going to take you lightly.
Knowing Alec, I don't think he'll rest any. Alec will see the 5th round of the FA Cup. He's a big time manager, as in he's been in the Premier League. He knows what it's like to be involved in managing, coach against those giants, if you like. And when you're in the Championship, and I've been there for many games, you want a taste of who you're playing in the Premier League. That's what you want a taste of. So Alex will be no different. So I'd expect it to be a very similar team that they played last weekend when they win doing handstands.
You've mentioned Alex there, and in that fact, was it a surprise to you that he left Sunderland to go to Stoke? There was plenty of uproar on the side. Yeah,
I think when you've done as good a job as he's done. When he went into Sunderland, they were in a bit of disarray, weren't they? And then they're winning promotions and all sorts. I think he's a very gifted manager for me, coach. More importantly to me, he's a good guy. He'll say he's from Belghill and I'll say I'm from Cambuslang, but we're both Glaswegians. Because that's a big city next to us. Was I surprised? Probably because of family circumstances, no. And I don't know that for definite because I've never breached it with Alec, but I would think family played a massive part in that. Plus, of course, the resources and the infrastructure and everything else you have at Stoke City. I don't know the owners. I wouldn't know them if they walked in here, but I do know what people say within football, that they are a magical family to work for.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm probably the only one in this room, and probably Hertfordshire, to have read the Sunday Post last week, where there was a cracking story about Steve Evans, Craig Brown and a priest. Do you need divine intervention this weekend?
I think we might. I can remember looking to the skies when Dean Campbell scored it at Villa Park and thinking, well, someone's having a little smile on us. But yeah, we need all the help we can get. We need Stoke City to have a slight off day. We need them to miss a couple of chances that come at key times in the match. Cup upsets happen, and then we just need to hang in there and keep ourselves on a cup tie. And if we can do that, then we can change things in that last 15, 20 minutes of a game to change our style, how we play, and surprise a few. And that's what we did at Villa Park. But I know how good the Stoke players are for the level they play. They're very, very good. And that squad was put together to compete for a place in the Premier League. And they've got a very gifted manager and coaching staff. So that tells me, and it certainly tells my staff, because we know them, how good they are and how big a challenge it is for us.
You're going to be without Darryl Hogan, Jake Forster-Kasky because of cup tie. Rest of the squad okay?
Yeah, rest of the squad's good. Everyone will train today. We're just about to have a little bit of a game for now, so we'll have a look at everyone. But every time we don't have a player in our group, that when we travel, it just puts us down to the minimum numbers. But we know the situation. I think we couldn't fill the bench properly at Aston Villa, but when I still looked behind me, I had big players to change it, and they did change it. And we don't call them substitutes inside our camp. We call them game changers, and that's what they should be for. And our whole squad has changed games for us on a positive basis off the bench many times. So we'll go there, all bar Darrow and Jake were at full strength, and we've got no excuses from that point of view. We've had fantastic support from our chairman, our board. We'll still continue trying to strengthen up until Tuesday, and so we've got no excuses.
The match is on a Sunday as well, and apparently not on the telly. That doesn't affect your sort of plans or preparations?
That's affected the week in terms of, very quickly we'll be back in on Monday morning regardless of what happens at Stoke on Sunday, because we'll have to go back to a normal week then as we prepare for the following Saturday at Sutton. So from our point of view, it's I think it's magical when you change days. If you're in Leagues 2 and Leagues 1, you change normally for television, or you change because it's a big cup tie. And for us, we've not got live television, but it's a massive cup tie. I think it's getting shown live in a lot of countries around the world as well. So we're very lucky to be part of this at this stage of the competition. But when you're part of it, you want to continue to be a part of it, don't you?
Just finally, transfer deadline days next Tuesday. Any movement? So we're still sort of waiting.
Yeah, we're trying so hard. You know, the boys had a couple of days, but I was early mornings and late nights with our chairman and Leon Hunter. We're trying really hard. I've been at it this morning, and it's just about other players becoming available for other clubs. We're in a little chain reaction. Like if other clubs get who they like, then we have a chance of getting who we like, and we don't want any stocking feathers. We don't want to bring players in that we think's not got a part to play. And the one thing that the Stevenage fans can believe is that if we add a player, he'll play a part. Doesn't mean he'll play every week. We're not going to go and sign superstars. That's not us. But if we can add to the dressing room, create further competition, and help us achieve our objectives for the season, then we'll bring them in.
You talk about, everyone talks about football being about the players and the fans, but your connection with the supporters at the moment, how important is that in terms of how you're building that relationship? Because you see at the end of the cup tie, the reaction with them, the end of the game, same after the game against Leyton Orient as well. That seems to be fostering a great connection, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely essential. I think if you're at any football club in the world, I think the first thing you need is a connection with what I call the real owners. I mean, everyone knows that Phil Wallace owns this football club, but Phil Wallace would be the first to say, without the fans, there is no football club. So the custodians really are supporters. So they have to understand what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, and then you have a connection. So I've been very lucky in my career because I jump about mad passionately when we score and say silly things and that. So I've been lucky to have a connection with every set of supporters that I've managed for. So, and every one of them I hold dearly in my heart. Not always the chairman, but always the supporters.
Yeah, and also just on the back of the win against Leyton Orient, I suppose it was part of you must have been a bit disappointed that the game on Tuesday was called off because you wanted to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, very much so. We were looking forward to Swindon. You know, we've got some players that are really chomping at the bit to play. We'd have probably freshened that up a little bit just to do what we did early season, which was make some changes and keep everyone fresh and on their toes and hunger. But the one thing we can't do is we can't stop Jack Frost jumping up and killing it. But we hope he's gone for a little while. Pitches are perfect today, and they will be at the weekend. So everyone will get their football this weekend.
Super, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.